Plugin of the week is the Cranesong Phoenix 2. Phoenix 2 is a tape emulation plugin created by Dave Hill. Dave Hill, if you're familiar with the Cranesong product line, creates a lot of products that are specific to mastering and mixing, really high-end stuff. He has gear like the Avocet, which is a monitor control surface, the Egret, which is a summing amplifier. He's got D to A converters that are really high-end, like the Solaris. He's got a tape color simulator hardware device that feeds in, converts to digital, and then gives tape emulation using the HEDD technology, which partly makes up what this plugin is all about, and etc. He's got 500 series components and has a great reputation for making amazing, high quality, high end products for mastering and mixing work. And this is one of those plugins that has sort of withstood the test of time. Some plugins actually are so valuable that they continue to be a productive part of people's workflow throughout years and even decades, and this is one. Dave Hill actually also worked for ATR Services, working on their ARIA discrete tape recorders, as well as working with DigiDesign, or Avid, rather, creating the Heat plugin that's part of the HD system, or was originally part of the HD system and kind of came through the product line. So what we have here on this was an update from the Phoenix 1. So in 2012, this is the update, and I now believe it is all 64-bit as of the last download that I have here. And this is a very simple plugin that actually allows you to apply tonal colorations in a very simple way using the basic technology not only of the tape itself, but also the electronics at the front end and back end of that. And that's an important part of any good tape emulation. Now, for myself personally, I've always been particularly biased towards plugins that actually look like tape machines. And especially when they have all the controls that I am familiar with. So I spent quite a lot of time in studios working with different tape formulations, different tape machines, using different biases, playing with different configurations to capture maybe a little bit of an edge on a different sound. And so I'm very familiar with all of the inner workings of what alignment and all that sort of thing is all about. So when I see a plugin that has all of those features, my eyes light up and I love digging into all of that. But for the majority of people, and even many engineers from the analog era, they may not have been able to exactly explain what a bias current does, or whether fringing compensation, why that's important on a magnetic reference laboratory tape that's used to line up the tape machines and calibrate them in the first place. But without that understanding, they still understood certain settings and what sounded great. And so they would be more inclined to use particular tape formulations and particular tape speed and a particular alignment configuration for a certain style of music or to capture a certain character. And so people, just like you can be a great race car driver without having to know how the car is built and put together. Okay, so there's a thing here with it. And so what Dave Hill has put together, because he covers a broad range of experience, including design of analog components, and then, of course, the work in the digital realm. He actually takes all of his analog experiences, recording experiences, design experience, and puts them into the plugin. And what he's created here is something that's really powerful and simple. So essentially what you have is an input level trim. And this allows you to adapt or control the level based on the input signal source. So if you have something that's already running up to 0 dBFS, this will kind of help to control the signal level coming in. Then we have the process control, which affects the amount of processing. Then we have the output trim, which calibrates or allows you to calibrate or set up the output to achieve unity gain on the output. What you have on the brightness control here are three options. So essentially the way that it works is the gold is essentially a flat coloration. If you want something warmer, you go towards the opal, and if you go to the sapphire, it gives you a brighter configuration. And then you have a type, and this gives you a different tonal coloration where the luminescent is basically neutral. You get a deeper bottom with the iridescent. You get more aggressive compression characteristics or curve with the radiant increasing even more with the luster, and then with the dark essence, it kind of gives you a little bit more of it kind of changes over the course of how much gain that you put in. So it'd be less aggressive with lower levels, more aggressive with higher levels. And that's probably more true to the characteristics of analog tape, which become more resistant to being magnetized, the actual particles, because they can't handle anymore. So actually it's almost like a configuration of a ratio that is constantly changing based on how much level that you're putting in. So the level, so eventually it gets to basically infinity to 1. You can keep pushing more level, but it only holds so much of it. Whereas when you're at lower levels, you get far less tape compression. So effectively like a lighter ratio. So let's take a look at it and kind of show you how you could use it. It's really a valuable, incredibly valuable tool you could use on mixes, you can use on individual tracks, and you could use to kind of color the sound in different ways. So let's just kind of go through the basics of it here. So this is with essentially what is the flat setting. It's probably closer to 3 dB or so. Now if I want more presence on the top end, or if I want more weight on the bottom end. So what you end up with here is sometimes you can start to mix these characteristics. So for example, we have a flat characteristic on the type over here. So if I go to sapphire, which gives me a little bit of a brighter characteristic, then I can go to the iridescent, which is going to give me a little bit more of a low end bump and a low mid bump. So you get that nice, clean, open, airy top. And this is a nice combination because it's that top end air plus the low end bump, or the low mid bump helps to give you to kind of stretch the size or the height of the sound, and so that gives you like a characteristic that I find to be like a good match. So why would you use certain things that were like darker, for example? So for example, if I go to the opal, this might be really great on a vocal, for example, that is very bright or harsh, lacks warmth or body, or is overly sibilant. So what it'll do is it'll kind of warm up that sibilance and that harshness and bring in some body in a very natural kind of way that you can only do with a kind of a harmonic distortion, something that will generate or kind of create a characteristic tone. This also gives you the ability to kind of add more body into a bass, put more body into a kick drum. I can't go through all of the examples, or I could, but I would make an extraordinarily long video. But I think even just judging from this like simple example where we have some basic things, I just have this on a quick stem here. I'm just going to move forward here to so let's work some of the other characteristic settings. Here you get a more aggressive compression. Even more aggressive. Mix that with sapphire. Let's go back there and check that out. Dark Essence. So you could hear like the combinations here start to open some different aspects of the sound up. So let's kind of take this as is for a second, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of move this over to here and kind of put this on away from the mix bus and onto the drum stem, and then let's kind of oh, we got some percussion. We'll just kind of leave that alone, and then we also have some guitars and keys. I could also drive a little more gain into it. All right, just to give a little bit more focus, and then let's kind of wield something in here on the keys. So this is maybe a good place where we can go a little bit warmer. All right, so that's some warmth there, but that's making it a little bit too much. All right, so we can hear how that kind of helps to develop the openness of it. And now let's see.
Legs start to give up on you, still run the race.
Okay, so when we have here,
it's just what we have to do to just claim the fame.
Let's give it a little air.
Legs start to give up on you, still run the race.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just what we have to do to just claim the fame. That's who we are. Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping. That's who we are.
Balance the output a little bit better.
Ain't no stopping. Trust who you are. Ain't no stopping.
And now let's carry something over to the lead, and let's.
Legs start to give up on you, still run the race.
So I'm just working with some stems here for simplicity's sake.
It's just what we have to do to just claim the fame.
Maybe we'll go with something a little bit more transparent.
Ain't no stopping, that's just who we are. Trusting who you are, no stopping, ain't no stopping. Ain't no stopping, that's just who we are. Trusting who you are, no stopping, ain't no stopping. Ain't no stopping, that's just who we are. Trusting who you are, no stopping, ain't no stopping.
I like that combination of the two right there. All right, so now let's take a listen to the whole and see the total effect.
Legs start to give up on you, still run the race. Yeah, it's just what we have to do to just claim the fame.
A little cumulative gain there. So you can hear how it really brings in the solidity of the sounds and the focus of the individual sounds, and how quickly you can just kind of dial around and find something that creates the focus characteristics that you're looking for. It's so amazing for using on individual tracks to kind of add tonal character to tracks that maybe are a little bit generic, especially tracks that are purely digital. A lot of software synths and stuff will have a little bit of a coldness, especially cumulatively over the course of a production, and especially when you're at lower sample rates like 44.1 or 48. Let's go up higher in sample rate, and this is good up to 192. A lot of this stuff starts to smooth out, and you get a little bit less of an edginess that you get at lower sample rates. But otherwise, this is an amazing plugin, and still amazing to this day. Like, great work is just great work, and this is a rock solid plugin. So if you're into tape emulations, but not into all the tweakhead parameters and getting into all the bias characteristics and record high frequency balancing and all of that sort of stuff, then this is a perfect one for you. Really great stuff, and worthy of a plugin of the week. Usually I do plugins that are most current, but this is one that stands out so much that it definitively deserves a better call than that, and applause. So here we have it. Plugin of the week, Cranesong Phoenix 2.